Чел кидає мені цю сліпучку, і я чув, що він буде щось кидати. Я зато на санку спригаю на перший поверх з другого. І я на першому, сліпучка впала на другому, я був на першому, і мене засліпило. Тепер кинув, от сліпучка впала біля чувака, зірвалась, і він навіть руку не підняв, просто вийшов і розвалив мене, блядь. Ну з його сторони впала сліпучка, ти розумієш?
Це бачу.
Блядь, Рагульський той пап такий став, що я охуєваю просто, блядь. Десь в якусь в одну сторону воно, блядь, все накручене, блін. Тому але той раз в кінець нехай я, блін, ОБС-ку перезапустив, воно взяло, розбило нахрен. Що-небудь з нею робиться, якийсь краш, блін, ще щось пише. Алгоритм, блін. Я ще такого регулізму не бачив, щоб я кинув біля чувака сліпучку, блін. Вона блиснула йому по барабану, ти розумієш? Він собі просто взяв, вийшов і розвалив мене, блін. Ну ж впала біля тебе, ти ж був за камнем, де ти під землею ховався там.
Може він під землю заліз.
Гамна кусок, блін. От диви. Оба, і я нічого не бачу.
На секунду відійти зробити.
Біля челіка зірвала сліпучка, йому вже по барабану, блін.
Я ж ні.
Мгм.
Ще не їде. Кажеш, засліпило тебе, та?
Ти мене чуєш, так?
Та? Що, ти вилетів? Що?
Ні.
Друга каска.
Я не знаю, то щось так, блядь, тяжко грати тими дебілами, нахер хіра знає. Ну не може бути одним, блядь, от стоїш ти, сука, в нього стріляєш, блядь, впритул в бика того, блін. І воно не залітає, він тобі, блін, з одного вистріла виносить все нахрен і все.
Ну,
Глупа, блядь, а не ігра нахер.
то ж ти си друга. Точка є. М-ка ліпше. Може патронів відсипати бінти.
Блядь, за стрім все позбивалось, блядь. Якесь, сука, гамно нахуй. Ти нахуй рот, блядь.
Позеш. Ну, я таки 5 бінтів маю.
Немає взагалі нічого. Нахуй то треба злити
Ну.
ту ігру, блін.
Та енергетика.
Бля, я йому так надавав, сука, і воно не здохло, ти розумієш? Завали мене, Олег. Що йому, бля, я рахувати там. Я йому з імпа стільки надавав. Бачиш, він там є?
Хто його ног?
То він від зони нокнувся. Я йому всипав так, дай дорогу, блін. Не знаю, як він мене добив там, блін. Залутаю його. чи?
Я не рад. Просто гляну, чи є напарник.
Напарник може чекати тут.
Ладно. Я вийшов.
Мгм.
Якщо йому хотілося вертатися за зони.
А він почув, що я з того постріляв, блин. Зараз ладно.
Мгм. Ой, бля.
Є.
Мгм.
Що, біля нас нема бажаючих?
Є, от падає на це.
Певно, той двоповерховий.
Мгм. Сука, сука, дивлюся, ніхуя не видно. Він мене находить, ну що це за гамно?
Ти десь можеш стріти? Ну, так. Як він по мені стріляє, Олег?
Підсходять.
Нахуй, блядь.
На патроні не. Та такий. Там місце було.
Я не розумію, думаю, сходи, блядь, як він по мені стріляє, блядь, через стіну, чи як. Олег, я стріляю. Диви, то двоє, я стріляю через дирку з дробовика йому в рожу, і воно з тої сторони не пролітає туди. От диви. О. Диви, там навіть на стіні немає дирок, блін. Ти розумієш, яка херня? Тобто він. Диви, я тобі зараз звідси стрільну.
Бляха, я впав. Я впав. Тут він є.
Звідси стріляєш, пролітає, знизу не хоче пролітати, блін.
А я став, я його не бачу, а він мене відвішав. Капець. Не знаю, що тут треба ще включити, щоб бачити когось. Він не буде брати.
Та оберу.
Вале.
Перетягнись, ёб твою мать, блядь.
Аж там машина переді.
Та машина стоїть на тому місці, як ми там тоді чітко розвалювали челіків.
Угу.
Номераду.
Що другий виліз і на нас треба.
Чел собі, знаєш, так посидів, я дивився, повтор посидів, Міраду почекав, поки всі постріляються, вийшов, розвалив, поїхав далі, блін. Блін,
Професіонал буде.
там той просто був його охранник, дивиться, той рахіт якийсь не справляється.
Угу.
Думаю, ладно, вийду сам розберусь.
газує.
То мене за... А, то не в мене такий скін. Думаю, такого гамна вже немає. Мені треба мотоцикл взяти. Я його не бачив, ти бачиш мотоцикл десь?
Бляха. Хотіло сідати кончено.
Паркур, блін. Завтра треба стояти під вікном. Поколядуй, тоді запустимо. Ей, блін.
Аптеки маєш?
Ну. Ось тут взагалі нічого нема, блін.
Я маю. А ще може тобі балік один дати?
Ну, калаш я п'ятерки викинув. Весь той хлам, блін.
Ну, балік один. Там не раз. Понятно. А, ну я вже.
Пересідаєш?
Не, я
Йопту! Так не робив, тут опасно. Той трактор не міг трошки правіше бути чи лівіше.
Там. Цілу машину занесло. Минув стовп. Заїхав в ту машину.
Хтось лишив той мотоцикл. Так що він там може бути спереді. Мені треба просто на мотоцикл 1,5 кілометра вальнути. Спереді чуваки поїхали. На горку під церкву. Тут є хтось, чи що? Та. Ще один є. Лайк він його підніме?
Він буде збігає.
Та.
Ой, є.
Бля, пізно.
Що, зірветься? Не зірветься?
Тут збільшений магазин є.
Граната зірвалась чи ні?
Та тут сліпучка була, та.
А. Ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла. Слабаки. Не, у нього вімка.
Вітра енергетики баліки.
Не. Тут X6,
Він треба четвертого консолу.
тут 4 тебе.
Це вже ми.
З бомж, бляха був.
Якісь броні потрібні.
Ну, успішно магазину БП не було.
Тут ось ще один чоловік. Сусіду десь.
Сильно. Встає?
Та. Спускається, бачиш?
Побігає.
Ой, йди його вали. Бо мені жопа буде.
Бляха. Два рази заступив.
Бач? І ти скажи, як той бик, як його тоді не засліпило?
Не знаю.
Ну я про що говорю, що бред просто. Що мене на такій відстані я кинув і мене засліпило легко. А чел стояв біля нього, сліпучка зірвалась, він собі просто вийшов, мене розвалив, блін.
СКС. Вектор СЛР.
Давай заберу, блін.
Тут ще магазин є. Короче, не дивись. Коряк забрав?
Викинути.
Коряк би забрав.
Що мені? Не лізе ніхера, блін. А, блін, в мене 6 димів.
На 4 гранати. Викину.
Так і не треба.
Ну.
Шостий приціл тут є.
Не треба. Тут є цей. Сковорідка.
Немає. Це броніка треба якось. Третій збитий в жопу, блін. Бляха, я отшанувся. Кому стріляєш?
Ну там біля Лослевана ще. Це Лослевана. Там далеко.
Бачу челіка отам. Дав раз.
Не бачу нікого.
На 35.
А я дивлюсь туди, я нікого не бачу. А, бачу.
Біля будинку зайшов. Хтось йому з церкви дає на криші на церкві.
Як я не попав? Бляха, дверну раму.
Зона свалила, Олег, погнали. Там бустанись. І погнали.
Мотоцикл.
Ну. Йду подивлюсь, може я в нього ще якийсь буст. Нема, більше погнали. Що, він ще є там?
Так, був. Це. Що газу?
Там куди, по дорозі чи як? Так. Челу пофіг, що ми біля них їдемо пізно.
Ти не виїдеш. Ах, бляха.
Сука.
Там падай кончений мотоцикл. Я не можу вилізти.
Вилазь якось.
Я ще й впав. Давай, паркур кончений. А я вискакнув і мотоцикл зверху мене впав. Там на церкві так. Блін, відійшов. Між ноги попав, ну як так? Василь, між ноги. Тут бред. Там не баги є, можете їм пробити колесо.
Пробий.
Він там бігає, ще один. Там мотоцикл ще був.
Вони поїхали.
Так.
Ще наші їду ззаді. То ті, що з церкви були?
Мгм.
Куди вони на ті домики заїхали?
Ладно.
В общем, нам треба
Мене в
зону.
зоні.
А нема ніяких забігаючих?
Та не видно.
Погнали тоді в зону.
Стільки пострілів, бред. Ні разу не попасти. Не знаю, чи тут добре.
Він правіше гру скинув.
Тут загруза. Оп. Ти будинки.
Ні,
Білий
дальше,
внизу.
дальше, напевно. Мені здається, що тут десь там, десь тут. 80, десь внизу.
Думаєш?
Мгм.
Я ж думаю, в будинку. А ні, добіг до будинків.
Куди груз хоч впав? Блін, чел на горці є. От тут.
Цей,
Ти бачив?
раз дав.
Блядь, там ще другий був. Я не встиг вже. Це все херня, як нам в зону забігти. Чи ми ще в зоні?
Ну, зоні.
А потім? Потім вже буде. Потім буде потім.
Щось бути вдома.
Потім зона прийде до нас, то все.
Ну. Як завжди.
Хтось їде.
Я вже тут. Десь. Внизу під горкою.
Певно, вони їх розвалили.
Думаєш?
Не розвалили якогось одного чувака. І що, як ми пробіжимо?
Так, якось біжимо.
Спереді були чуваки теж. О, той знизу біжить там.
Я не
Він
бачу.
краєм біг. Блять, там справа був чувак. Нам того тут треба закрити.
Я думаю, що він один. Я не бачу нікого. Ну, кажу, не один. Звідки хоч стріляли, я щось так і не пам'ятаю.
Звідси. Але я
Ну,
вже
там є. Він є там.
його бачиш?
За деревом.
А, бачу. Там ще один десь є. Зараз зона їх подавить.
От скажи, як я не попав в нього?
Ти попав, кров бризнула, Олег?
Та?
Та.
Коли я в голову стріляв. Вони десь тут стріляють в нашу сторону.
Ти в нього
Ну,
завалив,
щось тут є.
напевно, чи ні? Блядь, нам капець як тут херово. Я навіть не знаю, де нам тут діватися тепер.
Я його бачу. О.
Я збіжу трошки вниз, блін. А, зверху, челіки, зверху. Біля мене чел ще один. Ай, де нахуй.
Як я не попав?
Тут зверху
Я
два
стріляю.
чувака було.
Мгм. Я стріляв в голову і я ні разу не попав.
Нам тут зона піздець яка охуєнна вийшла, блядь. Я побіг вниз, зверху два чувака, по тому, що він одному стріляв з тої сторони, і той чмир вийшов, блядь, мені ще настріляв. Стрілявся з там тим, і він взяв мені.
А, вже я на тому закінчив. Не йде взагалі гра. Не
Ну
знаю.
піздець сьогодні якийсь. Я кажу, то як вихідні, то просто жопа, блядь. Тут нереально і грати, блядь.
І термінатори, блядь.
Він Олег, ти йому скоряка дав, блядь, я стріляв по ньому кровбриз, йому похуй, ти розумієш? Він стрілявся з тим заднім челом, блін. Я вийшов, чекаю, бо чую, що той біжить, той мені взяв, мені нахерачив, а по ньому вже не стріляв, блядь.
Я не знаю. Це якийсь бред.
Це залупа, блядь, а не ігра, на. Я тобі говорю, от ти з каряка попав, я з тої попав, з СЛРки. Ти що, блядь, він в чому там, в два надів до третіх тих шльома, блядь, чи що він там понадягав? Просто кров бризкає, а чел не падає, блін.
Я не знаю. Я от стріляв по тому, що з церкви. Між ноги попасти, ну то стид, блін. Як то між ноги можна попасти?
Блядь, вообще. Повна хуєта, блядь, а не ігра. Ой, блядь. Ще один-два рази зіграю і теж виключу пізду, блядь. Я аж бісить. Тут, ти розумієш, от тільки вихідні настають, тут повний піздець, то не ігра, а Європа нахер. Тут неможливо грати, самі професіонали. Я сьогодні, блядь, я навіть не знаю, чи я якось завалив, чи не завалив, блядь. Просто піздець, а не ігра.
Угу.
Мені завдання виконати з 4-го приціла когось завалити. Та нахуй мені таке завдання, блядь, як я тим, блядь, 4-м прицілом, як. Стріляєш. Ну, стріляєш. Того теж чели тоді на Мірамарі, блін, були. Що він, ну, що догнали, потім тебе розстріляв той з дробовика. Чел в вікні, блядь, я йому стріляю, кров бризкає, а він собі раз зайшов, другий раз зайшов, вийшов, зайшов. Йому похуй, ти розумієш? А я стою, стріляю і по барабану все нафіг. Ті недільні теж міняються на такі охуєнні, що навіть не знаєш, що поставити. Ти не граєш більше?
Я на тому закінчу.
Ваша, до 10-ї нахуй, теж виключу зону. Шашлик,
Я
привіт.
не бачу сенсу, ну як не йде, то не йде.
Ну.
Добре, все це. Добраніч.
Давай, доброї ніч.
There, but it really didn't go anyway that a lot of these teams wanted.
Yeah, and one team that played super well in this one was Team Liquid.
Oh.
We saw them, of course, starting off in Picado, then they got themselves to the East Coast. But when that shift happened, the second circle hit, and it was a hard shift towards the northwest, we saw them straight away going up north and taking that route all the way up in the north and then to the west, making sure that they had all the control. Then they were kind of holding the edge there, making sure that, okay, we're not going to try to let anyone else in. But they also managed, of course, to end up on the west side. So basically, they did a whole 360 all around just to get into a better position all the time. Only 4 kills for Team Liquid, but to get himself that second place, and it's an improvement. They had all 4 up until the late game as well, and that's what we want to see. One step at a time. Don't do the giant leaps.
Yeah, 20 points going Northern Lights way. But if we can go more CSI on this, if we can zoom further into their faces on those winning moments, that would be fantastic. But there you
Preferably
go.
nookies.
20 points. So, oh, yes, please. Yes, please. 15 points go the way of Sauna Boys. And there you go. The eyebrows of PUBG. Nookie himself gets himself 5 kills along with Batulins. So despite not getting the win here for Sauna Boys, it's very needed points considering the previous position, Martin.
It is indeed. It's good to see how well they're able to kind of get the amount of points to kind of repel the teams in the north and protect that compound for so long. They got a good amount of kills from it. 10 was it in total, right? So a good amount of points for them anyway.
Yeah, not too bad. Well, we do have an interview ready with our winners from our first game here from the day. It's Miramar, and we had Squeaky on the line. How are you doing, Squeaky?
Hello, I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. So first things first, obviously you came
that they're gonna group to the south compound, so we will get freely to fourth circle, because it's gonna southwest. So after that, it's just all about like, because we drove to the ridge north of the NLTs where they were playing in the shacks or slum houses or whatever you want to call them. So that was pretty straightforward that we're gonna play like step by that. So, but if the fourth circle went full south, it's gonna be a really hard game after that because we can't get that much info from the warehouse. So if it wasn't 2-2 split, I don't know what we could do. Maybe drive to the ridge, play one circle with smokes and cars. But yeah, in the end, it played out well.
All right, nice. Martin, do you have a question?
Yeah, hopefully. Imagine if I said no, what would you do then? No, it's good to see you, Squeaky. And it's also good to see you with a bit more hair. You know, it looks better on you, I would say. No, but I want to ask. You guys had let's put it a less than mediocre week last week. What did you guys look at? Like you guys have put some time into wanting to improve for this week here. What did you guys look at and say last week? This was some of our biggest challenges last week, and what did you kind of want to try to improve for this week here?
Last week we played a little bit too fast for our own liking. That like we were been switching couple play styles. And the last week we played too fast. We make the couple calls way too fast that in the end paid like maybe 7 or 8 points in couple of games. So now we're just like taking it slowly and like thinking it truly before doing like sending or anything. And yeah, I think that was the most important thing. Couple games we played way too fast.
Fantastic.
Patrick?
I'm trying to think of something good here. I don't know, but let's just go with this. So you guys like to play at Edge, and we have a lot of teams that is playing Edge right now. And of course, also a lot of hardships happening so far, both in the finals and the group stage. How is this affecting you guys, and how do you guys tackle this kind of problem?
Yeah, I think pretty much all of the players have realized that the circles are really weird. They can like end of the west side of the first circle. So that's the reason why like the edge thing is you need to be really careful. How do you approach it?
Подивимося трошки ПКС-3.
Because you said there is many people who likes to
Як
play
челіки
edge, but
розвалюють.
there's like things that you can abuse pretty much. There's few teams that likes to do all pretty much the same things. It doesn't matter what kind of circle is, so you just need to realize that the teams are there and you can punish them, and you know that they are like split or something, so you need to just find a way that you're gonna abuse them.
Yeah, I have to echo that. I think the circles have been interesting this tournament, and probably will continue to be. Thank you very much, Squeaky, for joining us. Any kind of shout-outs before we let you go on to Erangel?
Yeah, thanks for all the fans who have been cheering for us, and we're gonna keep climbing the leaderboard this weekend, so hopefully we get top 6 by the end of this Sunday.
All right, thank you very much, Squeaky. Good luck in your games.
Good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
Good luck on Erangel.
Awesome stuff. That was Squeaky joining us from Ents here. Always good to hear from him. Always a great interview, to be perfectly honest. And so far, in terms of shakes of the leaderboards, they moved up first game. Let's take a look at the overalls after this one, though, as Northern Lights, now with 3 chicken dinners, decides to say, no, first place is ours. We keep seeing that bouncing back and forth between Northern Lights, Digital Athletics, Tornado Energy. They've all put themselves and set themselves apart here so far, Martin, from some of the teams below them, with a little bit of a gap forming there between Tornado Energy and Team Liquid.
Yeah, somewhat of a gap, I would say, and also our middle pack is separating them on the other side as well. Like it's looking very easy for Ents now to get into top 4. Even it's 15 points. It's a good game for Ents and a terrible game for everyone in 4th to 8th place. Then they're up there. So our mid pack is looking bigger, and it's separating them quite nicely. Yeah, kind of scary if you're 4th to 9th, maybe 10th even at this point, because it's going to be really hard catching up once we're at our halfway point.
Yeah, got to agree. And as you can see here, for Sauna Boys, that was very important to get those many points under their belt. Yes, as much as they got themselves 15 points, it still only moves them up to 13th place here, Froz. So whilst, yes, it's a great opportunity for them now to start that kind of ball rolling, they've still got a lot more work to do. We know individually they're very capable of putting in the work. It's whether or not it all comes together on the battlefield.
I mean, a great example was in the last game there, how you saw how Sikoro was playing on the rooftop looking above the smokes while Nuka was going out on the flank. They are capable of doing these counter plays, but what they're lacking right now, in my opinion, is that they don't have the experience. They're lacking someone with a lot more experience on the team, and you can see that towards the late game, how they kind of confused. They're not really sure what their next move would be, how to actually capitalize on their position there and taking that win in the last game. I feel like a little bit more, and they should be able to. They just need a few more games, experience that late game a little bit more, starting to realize, okay, this is how we need to play that out.
Yeah. Somebody's got to keep these Finns in line. There's too many of them. There's so many in the upper echelons here of the European region. I mean, of course, they're technically trumped out by Russia and Turkey in terms of representation, but Finns are right up there as well. And guys, at home, you can be involved in the Pick'em challenge that is currently ongoing here for PCS, as you can see a lovely code appearing below us, and you can redeem said code to get yourself some voting coupons in-game. So go and vote for your favorite teams who you think are going to win here at all of the PCS regions, and you can get yourself some lovely esports points to buy some lovely esports skins. They are cool. I love them. I love the SLR skin. I love the M24 skin. Do you have any particular favorites, Martin?
I think this last skin is nice, even though it has, you know, a big grip for the kind of the left hand when you're shooting it, if you're a left hander, of course. I like it. It's good.
Again, I just, you know, Froz thinks it's a big block of cheese. I think it's beautiful, but Froz, explain yourself.
Solid. I think it's solid gold.
I mean, it might be solid gold, but I never said cheese was a bad thing unless you're lactose intolerant. But at the same time, it is a skin, and skins are always nice no matter what it is.
Yeah, perish the thought someone here is lactose intolerant. Anyway, we have got Erangel coming up, gentlemen. Froz, sticking with you here for the moment. What we're looking out for Erangel, when you think back to what we had so far in our previous weekend of Erangel, what we're looking forward to here?
I mean, Redline is a team we haven't seen too much from in the past 2 games here, but we know that they play really good on Erangel. I'm looking forward to see if they can keep that up. We saw how they changed things up from day 1 to day 2 as well, from going day 1 to attack everything in circle 1 to day 2. Playing a little bit more passive, but going for the fights when they can and have the upper hand, and that's what you're looking for. Grab those points when possible. And I kind of like that aggressive playstyle they have, because it's going to net them a lot of points on the way, even if they don't get the win. And that's the whole thing, right? But also, of course, TSM, we saw them last weekend there, how they got themselves 39 points. That was half of what they had when they started today. That's from 2 games of Erangel in the last day.
Yeah, I mean, this is the potential stomping ground of the big names here, Martin. Of course, as much as in the first day we saw Tornado Energy and Northern Lights getting themselves the wins, then afterwards it was Liquid and TSM getting the wins on day 2 here on Erangel. So maybe we can see more of the big names step up, right?
Yeah, Erangel is definitely the place to do it. We see more tendencies of the teams that have before been like the very high end of teams do well on Erangel because they're just simply more experienced on high end competitions as well. So we'll see how well they're able to maybe steal some of those wins.
Let's do it. It is our penultimate game of the day. Sims and Pansy, bring us the grassy pastures.
Мені щось там базарять, в общем, про Ерангель.
Looking forward to this one, and you bring up skins, and you didn't mention Break getting skins. You know, we still have to be very thankful, of course, that we got gifted those beautiful, beautiful skins. I think it's like the only ones I still actually use. That and Jenna and Julian's, the M24, the classic.
Вон народу вивалилось на Сосновку.
South to north.
Yeah, it's the gold ones for me. The good old, the golden ones for the previous PCS, like big fan. Even it's we've got so many skins now between us. Like how many different ones there actually is. I'm going to hold for a second though, Lauren, because it looks like there is potential for some arguments down on Sosnovka Island. I want to hop and have a look at ETG and Sauna Boys. We know we've seen some run-ins before early game. We had 2 maps last week of Erangel where they actually clashed on both sides of it 2 different days. So I want to see if the same kind of scenario actually unfolds here. and you have a similar outcome. So far, it's the Sauna boys that have been winning out these battles, but let's not forget that we do have the bystanders that are actually in Philly base itself. So if they get kind of wind of this and maybe they smell blood in the water and they get good guns, because instantly, regardless of these settings anyway, regardless where you drop, you're always geared within minutes. It's just how it is. And
we
lo and
got it.
behold, we've actually got 4 teams over there. And the circle, well, it's been very kind to them. But I want to also talk about the coastline on the opposing side. Pink ponies from, you look at Milter Town itself, and you go through farms, coastline again, even the Shackfin itself, you've already got one player in there in the form of Kilyakai. These boats that are going to be very, very vital. They may be in abundance now, but maybe not for too long if someone like Shift W just takes them and yeets them and gets across onto the opposing side. With having quite a lot of water, not just for a general island one, but when the circle's down so south, when you have so much water behind Sosnovka Island itself,
Зона на
you have to assume that
Сосновці.
we're not coming back to Erangel. I mean, there's no land to do whatsoever, so you want to be going...
Наві будуть закривати, напевно, міст, так як вони близько біля моста.
Absolutely. But back to skins, Richard. You know, imagine caster skins. What would you put for Kalaris's skin? What do you think would be the most fitting?
I think it...
It's tough.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, like, I was thinking for Froz, like, give him a vehicle skin. Just like a really banged up car. And
Smashed
that's
to
it.
bits.
Yeah.
Martin would just have
Yeah,
a Danish flag. There'd be no question about that.
Straight Dane. Yep.
Just straight
Some
Danish
potato
flag.
and
Maybe
some
with James,
Danishness.
just some glasses and the ginger beard below it, you know? I could actually join in there. We could have dual skins, like a little ginger pack together.
I mean, oh yeah, the ginger pack could be something. I mean, you could go full Game of Thrones, but that could have some, you know, DMCA qualities there. I'm not sure they'd allow that too much. But regardless, we'll look, we'll come up with some ideas. We'll throw some ideas around. Brex goes up with a couple of ideas himself. Already gonna head over, just on his own as well. Taking the one boat. Not sure if there's one on the other side of the island. We got to see the one that he was heading towards. So hopefully Chris and, you know, Killikai and Zoka can actually do something. Yes, there we go. They're maybe gonna have a battle for it if they did go over towards Meltaway with the pink ponies. But who this looks good for, in my eyes, is the likes of Northern Lights. They get the radio tower side, which I love to see. James being very ambitious leading out the car with that gun, but no, he goes to the M4, no worries. But it looks like, for now, Na'Vi not known to gate camp, or bridge camp, should I say, unless they really have to, unless there's a full, you know, call for it. Orange isn't going to be shy, though. Still noting presence, saying, hey, don't think about pulling up here. Just keep her moving.
The question is, dude, alright, we know Na'Vi don't necessarily
Na'Vi
bridge camp.
запізнили з закриттям моста.
Do ETG get
Team
involved
Liquid
here, or
вже
did Team Liquid just get across clean?
проїхали міст, і,
I think
напевно,
by
тепер
looking at
будуть
what we
вони
have information-wise,
з другої
it's pretty
сторони
plain
закривати
all four
всіх.
players will get across and they'll be able to set themselves a nice bit of residency. Quepta's just falling back. He'll be able to get this information and feed it to the rest of
Ні,
the
поїхали
teammates
далі,
that
на
there is
мості не
another team,
лишались.
and they have made it across safely. Again, if you do watch PUBG, if you do play PUBG, you'll know it's going to be Team Liquid Gustav. 1-2,
Так, це
thank
ще
you.
буде ще ця гра, і ще одна буде, напевно, кінець. Третій день закінчиться.
25% HP. He has a good opportunity to knock 2 out here. That would be
Does he keep going?
disgusting. One of them's the driver as well. That'd slow it down. Yes, you can seat switch, but there's a lot of work to be done. Thankfully, the meds are there. I can already see the bandies being worked on. Stims also, so they'll be back to full HP eventually. I mean, Vampire isn't. But then again, he is driving. Losing one player, it's never good. If anyone's on the opposing side with a sniper, that could spell danger.
Команда Pink з Мільти також перебралась на Сосновку.
Liquid have made it across. We saw them, you know, get across the bridge, and now they're heading past the Sauna boys. And Na'Vi Orange has 2 of TSM pulling up now. Does TSM expect to have Na'Vi still in these scenarios?
Те саме
Sure,
до
but Clip did not
Na'Vi
expect
до
Sakura to
одного
have such
чувака
a big
під'їхав.
chunk of vision on him, but maybe overlooked there. Liquid fumbling a little at the start, and this is a position they often go to, that southern side, but it's already preoccupied. And yeah, this is great from Orange. That's going to be the first, but Iro wasn't alone. There was another player with him, and I think it's Miracle.
Na'Vi Orange одного розвалив челіка.
Not 100% sure.
Що
They might actually
Samuel?
just dipped at this point. Yeah, Vard on the way, Fex and Miracle. Yeah, they've gone, right. Not sticking around for that. Na'Vi haven't crossed yet, so we should be good. Over we go.
I kind of feel for him
Чесно
on that one.
кажучи, вже
Probably
майже
I'd be honest,
всі
just
команди в
looking at
зоні,
them and saying,
тільки
what are you doing there? Like, why are you still here at this
4
point?
команди
Na'Vi
поза
have been the
зоною,
last
5.
ones
Наві на половинку.
Potentially to come across
Zone.
here, you know, the closest to the bridge, and they're still just standing back. Don't get me wrong, they have all the boats in the world between Prim and over by Ferry Pier. No one can get to that area yet, so all the vehicles, and to be able to rotate across is going to be fairly easy, but yeah, if I was Ira, I'd certainly be kicking myself and just wondering why a player was still standing there. Gustav is still lurking, the danger man, so far on the opposing side, disconnected from the rest of his roster. He's already knocked out one from a boat, hopefully going for another one.
Oh.
Ivers this time. He's the one of
Густав
the
не
members of the
стріляв
Ace
і
clan.
получив вухо справа.
Whether or not they come back for him is a different question altogether. Stranding on an island, not what you want to be seeing, but with how much circle should be still in play, he'll be able to, I would have thought, swim across rather safely. Hence, your Stalber boys, you know them boys, they are wandering down slowly but surely. Now the big question is, with Navi regrouping themselves, does this spell disaster for someone like DA, who predominantly should just smash it into the bridge?
We'll see. Navi, as I said, they don't normally stick around here, but they are holding ground for a while. Nail up on pickup duty, gonna hear the vehicles probably.
О, блін, зараз як надає.
Have a look, and he's gonna find a lot of information. Switches up to the barrel.
Я в
sprays it
шоці,
wildly. Literal fish in a barrel or a player in a
Хтось
barrel.
вилетить зараз.
Really sounds as good. The damage is excellent. Gemty leading those shots so well. Marv's dead in the water. Nothing more to be said nor done.
Дуже довго не
Red Line's
сідали
time
на
to pick up
лодочку.
whatever's left and try and get out of there. If more shots come in, they are done for.
Yeah, just saw fortunate blood
Обана,
spread.
обана.
1-2, thank you. They've got to pay all the boats on fire. QBE will eventually have to come up for breath. The question is, will they be able to
З
catch
цілої
the
команди
Eagles?
один чувак лишився.
Osfair seeing all this one and realizes, okay, the full team hasn't been wiped yet. There must be someone lurking and lingering, hanging back while the rest of them do move further and deeper through Novo. Rest of Oma can, I mean, they actually might just go for him. They realize that QB is still in the water. Maybe they can try and keep track. They might just loop around and finish him off. If they do, they have to be aware that there could be another player, like, for instance, FaZe Clan lingering. Has Gustav gone in the water yet? I'll have to swim eventually, surely.
Yeah, I think Gustav's swimming as we speak. Navi have made it across the bridge. They should be fine now. No one's really there to do much with. DA will have safe entry unless maybe Ents the timing lines up. Not sure if it will. Oberkan did lean a little towards the west there, and they got warded away by Shift W.
Pretty linear as to where DA and Ents will be going. The circle's been favourable to them. There's options for Ents to, even if they don't want to challenge the bridge and take that chance, they could just run it off those cliffs that are facing the back yellows and smack it to the closest point on the opposing side, get as close as possible. You would probably then get actually tanked by TE and generally any team there. That's always a thing that has to be in the back of your mind. WS potentially stationed on the other side. We'll see when that one updates and we're actually going to be on that one.
Pubg.
No, they didn't early, excuse me. Yeah, I'm thinking, just trying to think where they are actually within the map itself.
Very
It's thrown
far
me off
south in a
track either
boat.
way. Okay, cool.
I think.
Liquid
I'm not sure.
opt into center. Yeah, I thought. Hang on a minute. I've definitely seen them rotating earlier on. Why are they? It's just. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Okay, yeah, seaworthy. They're down at the bottom end, towards the south.
Yeah, right. So everyone's going to be shuffling a little bit closer towards the center now. We do have the new circle coming, and Liquid have got themselves a great position in the military base itself. ETG are in there, bystanders are just on the other side. DA still just about making it in, and this is where they could potentially clash with Ents. Ents pulling up quite late. Of course, they were very far towards the north, and that's always going to be an issue for them. It is what it is with these circles. You play the game, you sometimes get caught out by it. Depends who's got the better meds now, really. You can you get yourself back up and well enough geared to go. And, well, DA are in a slightly better position, at least map-wise, to be able to kind of keep Ents a little further back.
I agree, but I don't know if DA has accounted for Tixu's position, which would suggest that he's gathered the information and fed it back to the rest of the roster. With Rustamar looking that way, I'd suggest that that's a very strong possibility. So having info, not to just go blindly running into this, and maybe keep DA patient, to be fair. B-Made just attempting to get it now, but didn't work out. It's this Uber is not yours, my friend. WS slowly but surely working all the way down to the south. And it'll be nice and safe for them, to be fair, because everyone else is centered up, gone toward the top side. So they'll be clean. It'll be pretty easy for them to get on and maybe get involved in the fight. This will be their first point of contact if they do run straight to military base. You can see some of that new terrain that came into play when they had the full overhaul. We don't really ever see it get in play because we haven't had many circles that actually allow for it, or, to be fair, that really bring them in within a competitive environment. I'll hold for a second because Uber is dead. Did FaZe overstep the boundary, or did Northern Lights want to get involved?
Well, Northern Lights have been on the radio tower for some time. FaZe probably shuffled this way from Novo, so you're going to have a little bit of a clash, and it looks like Northern Lights just simply got the drop on Uber this time, but Fuzzface is very close by. They can both stay here. It looks like Northern Lights already wanted to shift slightly further south, already kind of falling in towards more the forest side of things where Liquid sometimes, maintain, but they'll give up a bit of the space. Spyro just doesn't want to die on his own untradeable, just kind of like a useless death, so he's going to head back over towards the rest of the boys with Lou, as Batulins and Perfectus are further south. They're just across the road, so at the moment, looking at what's left, it looks like Ents did opt to swim, so they definitely noted the bridge camp. They're well aware of DA's position. They've gone, nah, let's at least ensure 2 of us do get in towards that circle. It is a long swim, but they should be just fine. The rest of DA and the remainders of Ents are still in the blue as we speak.
Northern Lights opting to leave early. Spoke about DA kind of just standing by and waiting for Ents to make the first move, or first mistake, whichever way you want to cut it. 2 players, Squeaky and Rustamar, will advance forward, and they'll be doing the swimming game. Tixu, they sit back and just hope Diggory that eventually DA sends off first. So it's a bit of a standoff, if you will call it. And the only real benefactor of this is Na'Vi. They're all going to run into them, and they should be tanked up. Whether or not Squeaky and Rustamar make it across nice and clean, I'd assume that Senyu would probably fixate more towards the bridge and keep a track on that. We'll hold for a second because Omicron on the run. All these players that are going to be on your screens any second will be in yellow. Omicron and Tornado Energy trying to get off of the beachhead and move closer towards the grassy areas with the trees. Get involved in the foliage. Quiz it. Information clearly in abundance.
See, these are hard shots to hit, but you'd hope for them to find a couple more. Oh, FaZe look weird today. They are definitely not the normal FaZe we see. 8C tries to commit to the shot and simply gets put right back. QBE might be in trouble just simply because of the blue coming in now. He was in a fine position prior to that. Now Na'Vi forced to fight the first men from Ents to make landfall. Rustamar and Squeaky did make it across. And now you've got Senor on the other side. Hey guys, I think there's some fins in our house. Help me out here. The sauna has been taken.
Uh-oh. This land is... Oh, Chempty! As if you spin on that, the power that just arrived all of a sudden, Shift W, they get a shot from nowhere. They thought they had the drop on them, but no. Omicron strikes, and it strikes well with 2 players down, and the bombardment will continue. Zoka, you can see in the off angle, does have the bolt action. Whether or not it comes into effect is a different question. DA have run the gauntlet down low. We transition, we hop and skip. T-Bone goes down from a different angle altogether. Gemty will finish off Kill Yakai. First victim is gone, but there's damage on both sides. Zoka, again, still looking for that prime target. With them out of the fight, it comes down to Chris to maybe try and hold the line here. Metralius does fall. Na'Vi finally. They actually get some kind of victims that do want to come from the opposing side. Diggory and Tixu, last ones to come across. Now, all of a sudden, Zoka and Chris have come alive. They are formulating a plan to fight back here against Omicron.
I'm amazed that they've been able to even have a fight from this. After those first couple of shots, I thought they were done for, but you can see Gemty is the only one actually standing. That Molly is so close. Gemty is just about in cover. You can see now shots between the pink ponies and Tornado Energy. That's a flush and that's a peek. Nice work from Gemty. Another? No, the flash pushes him back into the angle. You can hear the pins being pulled. Shadow shows though, and he's got a peek on this. He's trying to play this so well, and he's actually got the element of surprise on one.
Yeah, man.
Too many to handle. Oma can go down in 16th.
Zoka just inside the circle. If that had come in, it could have spelled disaster.
Ці світло-шумові гранати хіба самі себе сліплять, коли кидаєш якийсь бред, а не противника.
Behind Na'Vi. Tornado Energy, 1 player in the opposing side. A little bit of a split going down though, and that becomes very problematic. Melman, the first one to be the first point of contact. Be able to get off the vehicle on top of the roof. Try and
Так, одна тіма вже від'їхала, лишилось 15
Especially if
команд.
they're in the Harry Potter Tower, you'll have clear vision into those windows and maybe able to bang one out and then the rest of them can run forward. But the big problem for both of these teams is that once they do go forward, they'll have TSM in their way. Or will they? As I say, that code Marco hits the world on Fex. Look at the falling damage instantly. What a range that was. To be able to do him at that distance with the spray in the vehicle? Holy hell, code Marco. If he's
вже немає тих
feeling it.
РЛ,
It's going to be
ОМК,
dangerous.
Oh, bloomin' heck. Go, yep.
РЛ.
Running
Я не
a
знаю, хто
mad
такі.
gauntlet right now. So many teams going past. You're going to see everyone being kind of pushed in together. Fuzzface is dead. This is
Весь клан
been a
теж
poor performance
відійшов
from
вже.
FaZe. And as someone who loves FaZe when they
Щось
play well,
вони
I
на
think they're some of the
ПКС
best teams.
взагалі
You know, when they have
слабенько
the good
грають.
performances, it just feels very flat. I'd love, you know, for the guys on the desk to break down simply what's been going wrong, but obviously it's hard to make those assumptions. However, Code Marco, nice work from him, and Smash going to dive in as well. DA and Na'Vi, two teams playing very well currently, I'd say. DA obviously in second place, kind of tussling with Tornado Energy and Northern Lights. Speaking of Tornado Energy, they've got fights on their own fronts, and they are out in kind of no man's land, in the in-between, where Ents have kind of pushed themselves out. Jeems, where did that just come from? A little rocket in his pocket. He just sends it right towards the pink ponies. Nice work. That fire is still alive, just on the other side of the kind of fence that runs around the outskirts here. Gonna be prone down and trying to stay very much undetected, but I'm sure that Liquid will be keeping a close eye on this.
Spoke about it earlier. I mean, sometimes it doesn't pay off for them, but when it does, it pays dividends. Liquid is always a team that will happily just evacuate the safety net that it has and move towards teams to stop them getting closer. Like, ground coverage for Liquid is vital, and it's all part of the plan, and it works so damn well. That in itself is a knock-on effect. The dominoes fall, the information comes through, and the pink ponies are eliminated. TSM,
Вже теж.
the final run,
Ще
maybe
12 команд
we shall
залишилось.
see if they hit the same principal wall as what the pink ponies had. Then we could be in for a spot of bother. They have been noted. Vehicle is loud and proud, and a very open road here. You're going to hit this at a very tight angle if you do want to get inside. Actually take the tower instead. But look at that. The second they make landfall, instantly 1, 2, maybe even 3 teams have a full clear line of sight onto them.
Yeah, TSM won't be leaving this tiny little area anytime soon. That is their new home. They love it. They're very happy with what they got. Zoka,
Шип W під
loving the prone
заборчиком.
along the fence, just trying to
Zoka
avoid
якийсь.
attention, as Chris did make it in as well. But there's plenty of full teams just in front of them. This is going to be quite a
той
brutal
пасає,
ending, I feel. There's a
пасає.
lot of big teams left in this. Northern Lights still here, looking towards the top, of course. Let's look at them. Northern Lights on the south side, on the wreckages, on the kind of... Oh, that fence just kept him alive. And Rich, we might get an ending you've wanted for a while. I haven't seen it either, but right on the airstrip, we're going to have a fair bit of attention. Liquid, Northern Lights, Sauna Boys, WS, TSM, DA, Na'Vi, all these big names still very much alive here.
It'd be lovely to see down that southwestern side. You have all that new swamp area with the broken down BRDMs. To see them come into play and to see all that kind of terrain put to good use would be an absolute treat. For now,
Зокер
though, it's
виживає
survival of
під
the fittest when we
заборчиком
look towards
повзає.
the north and the east. We have Na'Vi and Tornado
Ох
Energy.
ти,
Then
як
hop back
наваляв
actually
челіку.
inside Zoka. That, like, as a one-man ranger, how are you still managing? Excuse me, not lone soldier. What am I speaking about? I'm forgetting Chris is actually in the distance as well. So between them, actually doing the dirty here and simultaneously they shoot and simultaneously they do finally fall. Shift W goes down, Alia at
Shift
distance with the
W
K98
від'їхав.
ends the same trajectory path as TSM earlier.
11
Again,
команд
presence will
лишилось.
be noted, especially from DA. Remember,
Oh,
this
they're
is
going
who was
right
holding
towards
them and
DA.
choking them to go point this time round. Now the question is, could we have a bit of revenge? Could the standoff transition to a different area? Let's not forget here, the second that N starts shooting towards Tornado Energy, in theory, this should be the go signal for DA.
Yeah, and it is for the bystanders as well. They turn their attention instantly towards that hillside, and they nabbed at least one of those points. Na'Vi adjusting, but they're still not safe. 3 of them alive. I don't know if the 4th made it. I don't think they did. Tornado Energy in a precarious spot themselves. Over by Big Red or Rust, whatever you like to call it. All there. Looking a little different these days. But example, trying to be kept alive by smoke. But you can see that hillside has such good vision towards it. Now, I do want to see what happens to that DA Ents sort of weird battle and then throw Na'Vi into the mix, because now we've got a situation unfolding. Now we've got problems aplenty. Ents do have 4, but their position is very uncomfortable. They've spotted out Na'Vi and they lose. Tab with a big backhand towards Squeaky. Nate to hopefully finish what he started, but Tab's on for more. And if Ents aren't ready for this, they're in troubles. Even though Na'Vi are on the low ground, they can still do some incredible stuff. Diggory, quick nade. They've got at least one towards the right area. Rustamar, yeah, you see that nade damage flooding through Na'Vi. Barrage being thrown at them. Nade after nade. Diggory, not too proactive though. Doesn't want to peek that ridgeline. He will silhouette. He will skyline a fair amount, but Na'Vi transitioning further forward. They have to get away from this blue, and they are forced to fight. They're forced in, and they're forced to their death. Diggory, comfortable, waiting, looking for more. Don't want to overstep the boundary. Don't want to run over that ridgeline, but Orange praying for it. He's actually wrapped around the back of them. Maybe he could be the silent assassin, but DA waiting patiently on the hillside as well. As soon as Ents appear, expect those Turkish names to be on the correct side of that kill feed. And I'm waiting to see it appear, but it's not come through just yet. Mert's there, they're all firing, but Ents have got so many problems. Smash finds Tixu, and now Orange has to make his approach. He is in such a bad spot here. This blue damage is going to be vile for him.
DA have just been holding point, and that's because they have the high point, and more importantly, they have terrain to work with. There's a few little bits and bats of the metalwork that they can actually use to their advantage. They're ever so slight sandbag area they can use, but now it's time to go. With 2 players standing, they've seen damage done, they smell the blood, they want to finish this one off. 1 man standing, Rustamar. Can you stand the test of time with 3 players bearing down upon you? This was a fight from the very start of the game. Both teams holding each other dead to rights, and finally DA put the nail in the coffin. Jeems goes hard onto Example. 1 player from Tornado Energy going down. Ali are clearly trying to make a last resort, a last-ditch attempt, but unfortunately will be thwarted and held back by TSM. This could be another easy free frag for DA should they see the vehicle. Maybe the bait's just been used to draw these TSM players out. While all this is going down, let's not forget about the Sauna boys. They have been here from the very start. Went up against... they've actually gone for quite a slow crawl into this. I mean, the circle hasn't necessarily, I'd say, unfavorable from the very start, but certainly moving away from them, they have to work for what they've got.
Yeah, they've just sent it as well. They've just moved up. That's Liquid moving in. We didn't get to see them. Don't know why not. But there's Liquid trying to sweep through, but now they've garnered the attention of Northern Lights, who just moved up. You were right, they were quiet. They hadn't got involved, but now they are. Now they want in on this. They've got 6 kills. It has been a quiet 6 kills, but 6 kills nonetheless. Liquid just trying to stay alive. This is a battle of attrition at this point, and look towards the top. This is where I want the fight to be decided. Northern Lights currently lead the way, and they have a good position to play from, and a good couple of teams around them, a couple of bits and pieces here. DA have that hillside, and that hillside is very critical to their success. Maxi is going to be found by the Sauna boys, and the Sauna boys control the vast majority of the south, kind of west, I guess you'd say. Very strong positioning too, but it looks like Smash has a good bit of vision towards one, but vision right back.
So this is the problem. It is a good position for now. The opposite polar end is that the circle moves away and there is 0 cover. My concern, do they have vehicles up there? Because you will need them to rotate. If you want to rotate off the back of that hillside, you just wander straight down, you're in all kinds of trouble. The Sauna boy is going to be at the footholds, just waiting for you to get into some kind of open area. Lay waste and it's job done, DA, if you don't have vehicles. And the circle is bad, then it should be good night. TSM's position, well, you know what, to say it's 2 little cabins or 2 little towers, it's actually paid off in central of the map. They don't have to do anything still. Yeah, they can stand there and stand the test of time, but we'll see for how long with Team Liquid on the opposing side of the road. Maybe Team Liquid shows hand eventually.
Oh, DA, right. Let's see what they're made of. This gets tricky. So, you can go down the hill, but you've got a Liquid fight, and you'll have full attention from everyone in the lobby looking at you on the way down. I don't know how many smokes they have. They've been in a lot of fights. If we could get on board with DA to see how many smokes they have, maybe, or vehicles. Okay, so they've got a couple of vehicles to play with. But do they have smokes to maybe give them some cover upon arrival? Or even on the route itself? Right now, 3 smokes with Mert. Lovely. That's not bad. That's enough to at least give you maybe the start. You want a couple more, but it's possible. If they could get a pick and then go, even better. That's probably what they're looking for here. If we could get a pick on the Sauna boys, right, that's a gateway through. Now, with 10 seconds to hit, yes, Northern Lights will have to fight ETG, but I feel as though they're in a superior position. They should win that fight. ETG, look at the cross they have to work with. It's treacherous. Yes, the smokes could keep them safe, though, so we'll keep an eye on both of these fights. These are going to be critical. There you go. First pixel out of place. Spyro spams him wildly, sees another. Batulins gets one. We're looking for the next. Spyro underneath the ice cream van, takes it, and nothing sweet for dinner for ETG. It's going to be Northern Lights moving up now. Now it's DA's turn. What can they do with this, Rich? It's a horrible spot to be in now.
It is, honestly. You just got to go for the vehicles. mark a target, and head towards it. They could end up, actually, to be fair to them, going towards Team Liquid's position. You know, it's somewhere within the circle. It's clutching at straws at this point, but really, what do you have left with the rocks in front of you? Liquid's already
Nades.
here. They're cycling the grenades for them. This could be some
Mollies.
easy frags. If one just goes over the top, that could be 3 kills. They've just fallen short. So the Sauna boys will continue the
Okay.
barrage of bullets with one more player standing. This could be some easy frags for the Sauna boys, and much needed when you're in 16th position.
Yeah. All right, Code Marco
Гранатка.
trying to get back on his feet, but here comes a bit of a nade. This is
Whoa.
huge. It's so good. So well positioned, well placed. The Sauna boys are putting up a performance today, and we've already got a knock on Perfectix. This changes a lot of the dynamics now. TSM with 2, Team Liquid with 2, and it's the big boys. You've got the Sauna boys and the Northern Lights. But let's look at those positions. It's got to be the Sauna boys here. Look how much ground they're controlling. Oh, they're dead, bro. They're dead. Leave them alone.
They're also dug in, and that's what's so interesting about this area. If they can literally just watch all the gaps, with Misa on the opposing side, to deny people coming from the roadside, they basically have their own dugout. They can just turret this, hide their bodies, go for the peaks. Obviously, you've always got to be careful of some disgustingly good bolt action or some just incredible marksman to ruin all those plans,
Коктейльчик
all the
зараз
best laid plans
залетить.
out completely. But putting Misa here and keeping him by that building has been so critical. He's been able to finish off DA. He can now keep Team Liquid back at bay, and they can't cross the road and come further down the wall. TSM can't move. There's just no point in bothering and wasting your life. You might as well just stay your feet and see what you can do towards the end of the game. And then finally come over to the Northern Lights. Well, honestly, with 3 players from the Sauna boys here, they don't want to go too far because they are, you know, they're spread a little bit thin. But why give up this fantastic and phenomenal amount of ground that you have? There's just no need.
Perfectix made it further forward. That's pretty important. Now, he can at least stop them breaching in, but you can see at what cost this has come at. The loss of Batulins is pretty important. Now, Liquid are going to try and take this opportunity to move up, but TSM is well aware. James is not being subtle with this, but he wants the loot, potentially. Now, the nade comes through from Nookie, and it finds Lou, and we're going to see the Northern Lights now stuck. This is where we'll see if any of this, you know, that IGL magic that Batulins does have can come through. Is there any right call to be made here? Be cautious, careful, because there is a snake. Oh, it's not in his boot, it was in the grass, and now he gets booted down. Quick little trade out, though. Misa's right there. This is great work from the Slaughter boys. They are everywhere on the map, but there's Perfectix. We highlighted this. We talked about what this position is. It keeps Northern Lights just about safe, but the Slaughter boys are relentless. They are just pushing damage at the Northern Lights.
I understand what Sakura was trying to formulate, get behind and get up against the wall, and it gives them another foothold here so they can just watch basically 360 vision of the map. Misa up top and then 2 down low, but with Sakura going down, that might spell disaster. There is potential here to get a revive off, but if Perfectix understands what's going on here, if they're committing to the cause of getting the res, then maybe he can punish them. Maybe he can remove them from this position and open things up for the Northern Lights and really turn things around. James is still been held by Misa. Misa's also falling back now. Remember, this becomes panic stations. You've been out there for some time. And now the circle has been rather unfavorable to you, so you have to move yourself, commit all your utility, and get 5 Vard. Should hear these steps. That's Nookie from a distance. Easy kill, easy frag. Thank you very much. But we spoke, you mentioned, about the IGL, and Frost mentioned it on the desk as well, and so did Martin. Can they keep this together? Can they work as a team? Is the leader there to formulate this final push?
The problem is, on the first peak, no matter where they go, unless there's utility, the Sauna boys will have the advantage because they're being proactive. Northern Lights, as soon as they get up, that first shot will go the way of the Sauna boys. Now, Vard could have posed a problem. He doesn't. And now they're surrounded. Misa gets full reign to close this circle in even further. And the Sauna boys have been surprising us. That Miramar game I thought was a one-off, but maybe not. Unless Lou, Spyro, and Perfectix can do something, this one's all but over, and it looks like it's time for that utility to come into play. The flashes come out, they're left with nothing. The vests are broken, the helmets are gone, there's no nades, there's no smokes, they're down to whatever's left in the mag on their gun. As you can see, it ain't much. The first peek, nothing there. Smoke comes out, looks around. Perfectix feeling bold, feeling brave, but I'll be feeling the pain pretty soon. Already on the cross there. There's Misa spotting out Lou. Good work from Nookie, and it's all down to Spyro, and death is imminent, and it's a great performance from the Sauna boys. As said, I thought maybe it was a one-off on Miramar, but if they found some really good performance coming into today, they could shake up these standings.
Honestly, it just felt like Misa was a moon just gravitating a planet, constantly just moving around the rest of them, sitting on its own on one building, then moving around where DA, Liquid were, denying all those teams, denying the final push from TSM. On the bottom side, the other three, they just stayed stationary. Misa once again then comes in to just basically pin them into a corner, so there's nowhere else to go. Like, his maneuver towards the end there was hand in hand part of the reason why they won that. Having that one player left out rather than just being boxed in yourself into that swamp area. Fantastic map movement.
Yeah, love that. And I really hope the desk breaks it down in as much detail as they can, because I think that was very, very imperative to the way that closed down. But, you know, take your time with it, boys. Talk us through that first map of Erangel.
Thank you very much, Lauren and Sims. Yeah, we're back, and I have to echo the sentiments of, you know, where we were seeing Sonar Boys taking up position, you know, in the new Erangel. I mean, it's not new anymore, but taking that spot in military base where there is all kind of that new terrain, that little area where you can actually bunker on up. Very, very powerful position as they take themselves a pretty clean win here, Froz, to start things off on Erangel.
Yes, and this is what we were talking about earlier, right? That they didn't have the experience, but coming into this one, you can see straight away that they learned a little bit more. Not stacking up for and not looking out, scouting out what's ahead of us. What do we need to do? What's the next step? Be one step ahead all the time. And that's what they did in this game. We saw them going from a, well, first of all, they dropped there on Miller base itself. And then they were doing a 1-1-1-1 split, going into a 2-2, going into a 3-1. As Sims was saying, they had me scouting around, jumping back and forth, making sure that everything around them was just clear. There was almost a time when they kind of threw it. Almost. We saw that Sikora was throwing a smoke towards the fence, trying to move in towards NLT. He started running towards the smoke. He had blocked off the vision, but from there, he wouldn't be able to do anything. As soon as he would stand up, he would just get shot at. We saw him taking a few steps out towards it, and then backed off again. And thank you for that, because if they would have thrown that, I would have lost my mind.
Martin, your thoughts?
Yeah, we don't want to see another throw. The last game was potentially a throw as well, but this was a good retaliation game, I would say. They played it out nicely, and also it's a home serve circle. You want to see the best of that as well. But I actually feel like their late game movement was very nice. They took a lot of control, they scouted a lot, they got a lot of information by looking there, by playing the circles as they were coming out, and took a lot of space from a very, very early stage.
Нагадую, то сьогодні грають третій день, відбулась третя ігра. Зараз буде четверта, послідня на сьогодні. І в кінці побачимо результати, хто на якому місці, яка команда. Ну, тут була чітка гранатка.
Unfortunately for DA, their row came to an end there. But Sonar Boys continued to play things on out, and having to deal with Northern Lights that were on the right-hand side, which actually is a big thorn in everyone's side right now in the lobby in general, because them getting more points, they're already ahead here in this lobby so far.
Yeah, and I mean, you can see NLT, they're playing their game up to perfection, more or less. How they're doing their splits all the time, making sure that they have the control. We saw them, of course, early on already having a 2-2.
Берільчика з третіх прицілів розвалюють, як має бути.
And then going into the later stages, when the circle moved up towards the north side, they would have 3 on the north side, 1 on the south side, taking that control, making sure they gather all the information they can. And of course, later on, they had to move in. They had
Бачимо таблицю, Наві на 9-му місці здохло.
And that's how they do it so
Весь
well.
клан
They got all
13.
those kills, getting all those points. 9 in total for this one.
Yeah, very, very nice. 21 points coming the way.
Ліквіди на третьому в цій грі. Shift W5, TSM 6, Tornado Energy 8, Sauna Boys перший взяли. Получили 21 очко.
Considering what we've already seen here so far in the tournament.
Yeah, there's a little Robin Hood called Sauna Boys though. They had 21 points last weekend, and now they have 40 points so far in 3 games in this weekend so far. We have 5 more to go, so it's really good to see how well they're able to step up. Misa, the Bloodhound, able to get sniff out 5 kills, if you may. Also Spyro, very nice game from her with 5 kills as well, and a nice split in the 3rd place with James and Chris and Code Marco sharing that. So that's it's good to see these guys that be willing to step up and get a lot of kills from this game as well.
Yeah, plenty of damage coming in from Misa and Anonymous as well, as they take number 1 and 2. Sparrow, Jemti, and Perfectix will take the other spots here as things continue on. But in general, this being a military island circle, Froz, did cause some teams some problems. We saw a lot of attempts at boat rotations, which were met with hailstorms of fire, and some teams had a very rough time about it.
Yeah, and that's the whole problem. Sometimes when you take them, you need to have the right timing for it. And we saw teams like Redline take it a little bit too late, and that's when you're gonna just get shot down by everybody. Everyone who has a chance, they're just gonna look back at you. They're just looking at free kills, and they're just gonna go for it. And that's why you have to have the right timing. You gotta know, okay, too many teams have already passed. We still have teams behind us. Well, we're better off if we maybe send one in a boat, and the rest is holding, and then they just swim across or something. Anything else than having 4 in a boat in that stage.
Yep, you're going to get shot down. These players are too good. All right, we're going to a short break, ladies and gentlemen. When we return, it's our final game of the day here for PCS3 EU.
Треба якісь підказочки зробити чувакам, а то в чаті пишуть, яка правильна відповідь.
Still waiting for the Lauren guess who. Just saying. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have one more game remaining here today for PCS3 EU. And so far, so good. Once again, we've had very varied winners across the day specifically, but up towards the top, aside from the good old Robin Hood, as Martin mentioned, of Sauna Boys doing well for themselves, we have some of our top teams really kind of making the gap evident up there. Northern Lights, triple digits, 109 points for them. Digital Athletics, 97. And what's up, Martin?
The whole left side is the same as the day when we started the day. It's only the right side that has moved.
Wait,
no,
that's
from
not
the
true
match.
at all.
Match changes.
Tornado Energy was first, no?
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? Yeah, but it's match change. But all the other guys it's from one match is still funny. It's 8 teams that are staying the same throughout one match. You know, it's still funny, guys. Laugh, okay. Sounder Boys though, 61 points. That's talking to how bad they were actually looking before. You know, 40 points in these 3 games so far, and 21 points in 8 games in last week. Those guys have really improved from last weekend up to this one here. I'm actually really curious to know what they've changed and what DOS has been going into trying to improve from last weekend on.
Yeah, maybe we'll get them for our next interview at the end of the day, because they've just had a blinder of a day. So great stuff by Sona Boys so far. I'd love to interview the eyebrows of PUBG. And aside from that, not too many moves from this game, as you're mentioning, Martin. So that's what you meant before. Because I was very confused for a brief moment in time. But that's fine. For a brief moment in time. But that's fine. Froz, looking at how things played out, of course, it being a military circle does present some issues for some of our cross bridges, which was unsuccessful. We already talked about those boats. But for a team like Ents, for example, over on the west side, trying to get across that whilst DA's there, then DA gets across, and then you have all those situations up to the north where Ents is fighting in Na'vi. It's all very rough for some of those teams.
Yeah, it's super rough for some teams to actually be up against each other athletics because they're kind of unpredictable right now. We kind of see them going for cent sometimes they will play edge, and when you can't calculate where they're gonna be, it's gonna be hard because you always gotta anticipate that they might be in front of you, but they might not. And if they're just hiding, you might be running into a trap, and that's what they make it so well. They're just camouflaging their playstyle game after game after game and make themselves unpredictable. And if you're unpredictable, that's the best way to play PUBG right now. As long as you can just be able to gather up the results, and I mean, they can do it for sure. You can see them currently sitting in second place with 97 points.
Martin, do you agree?
I don't like. I feel like the sentiment of if I don't know what I'm doing, nobody else knows what I'm doing is gonna work. Like it's just gonna be like a pick and point, you know, like let's go here, guys.
To a lesser degree, yes. However, I kind of like what Froz is saying. I think like being a potential firecracker that is thrown up, able to do a lot of damage, but is kind of spinning around to a certain degree, can be a scary thing. But at home as well, don't forget the Pick'em Challenge is still going on, and we have another code for you, Bazaar, here to be able to utilize and get yourself a coupon in game, and then you can vote for which team you think is going to be winning in each of the regions, etc., etc. One coupon per vote, of course. And a limited time use for that particular code. So be quick, go and type that on in there. And getting into our final game of Erangel, we are getting into things early, apparently. Let's go to Sims and Pansy for all of the planes.
We're here. We're going to be jumping into it. We're ready to go, even though, yes, it was, you know, it's snappy. They want to try and get this one closed down. I'm sure for some of the teams, they'd rather forget how today's gone. Certainly, a few names jump to mind, but some will want to remember this. The Sauna Boys putting up quite the performance, Rich. That's definitely caught my attention. DA still in contention as well. Northern Lights still up there. Tornado Energy, perfectly fine today. Maybe not one of their highlight days. You know, when we see them go off, they go hard, but still a good day nonetheless.
Последня на сьогодні катка. Самоліт пролетів, всі вивалились.
That is just phenomenal work, and it shows every other team, to be fair, what simply one good game can do. I am intrigued to see if we get kind of anything more towards the western side, with it starting up towards the northeast. Ents are going to be happy. This is kind of home turf to, you know, for them, so to speak. It won't necessarily with Northern Lights up there as well. They'll definitely have a little bit of congestion here, there, and everywhere. So they'll have to be very aware of it. Look again though, more towards Sosnovka Island. Like that is just chaotic. The
Bloody
bystanders in melee base. Thank you very much. Job done. Fears have adjusted ever so slightly, and it couldn't be more polar opposite. I mean, look at, you know, potentially here, Batulans is just off scouting near Nova. He's like, no, boys, no one's here. You're all right. You're on your own. The rest of them are safe. So a big old swing for him if it's not a slight bug or something, and he's all the way down there on his own. For everyone else, there's opportunity here to maybe try and take a deeper foothold. I'm interested to see what WS formulates with the Wanderer up on those really nice overlook towers that kind of watching down into Roshawk. That'd be a nice place to take. Yeah, he's just down at the bottom end. He's flanking. It's totally fine. This is completely to be expected. He's just monitoring the bridges, making sure that all the information's given back to the polar opposite end of the map. This is fine.
То Батуліна сральня така показують.
He's
Штани
okay. He's got his
якісь кинув,
bathrobe on.
ззаді
He's ready to
валяються,
go.
такі о.
He'll be okay. We
Huh?
We've seen him get over, you know, bigger,
Як ти
bigger,
включив
tougher
відео, Турік,
circumstances. We'll see how he gets
за
on. Anyway,
дітей у
so
вістранці
coming towards the
лежать
north,
таке, як
it
небудь
does
там
mean that
клавіатура
the
якась
actual playable
валяється,
land
ще ж.
is actually pretty sparse of compounds, buildings. The topography is there; it can be
Піпець
playable, but you
просто,
look at
блін.
it as I've called it, obviously the chicken tendy. More than likely, it will sit somewhere south of Severny, that kind of run across. Simply because the river runs through the southern portion, the northern quarter is obviously cut as well, with water in it. So eventually you feel either maybe, at most, maybe Stalber, but even then, that means it has to go towards water a fair amount. So this does look like maybe a shooting range, sort of hillside ending to me.
There is definitely potential for it. There's a couple of areas around there, especially as you see the old dugouts downstairs, the bunkers that you can inhabit. There's a hill opposite, bang opposite shooting range that is very predominant of where I always remember FaZe Clan would always set up and scout off there, or even work their way off there. So there's means to an end. Still a lot to do, especially when it's so far up, and we've got half of the teams already down in the south. FaZe are moving early, just so you are aware. I see vehicles in abundance heading across the bridge. There is a question in back of my mind, do Navi bother to look this way? I mean, generally they don't even bother to look this way when Liquid's always coming across, so you wouldn't anticipate it happen now. In fact, all four players look like they're going to be on transition. Bystanders still staying their feet. Sauna Boys, same position for them, but a much harder circle this time round. Lots of ground to cover. Still plenty of time to do it. It's not the most abundant of loot where they're going to be looting all the way down the south, but you know what? It is what it is, and here we are. Shift W could go for a bit of a wrap. I'll be impressed if Senya lands any of these, to be honest. Going through the fields. The 8 times at the back of it. He's got the sight and he's got the scope for it, but still it would be a hell of a shot to do so. Squeaky as a solo player. And this is what you might get NLT on the opposing side as well. I mean, Smash DA as a whole are already looking for a place to call home. And this is kind of giving us some idea of how this game is going to be, Lauren. Like, get snuck in now, get a good foothold on the map, because honestly, space and territory is going to be nigh on impossible if it shifts again towards the north.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I want to see what DA do with this. I'm quite interested. They've got a good spot early on, so I'm sure they'll tuck themselves in, dig in deep, and just kind of hold the territory. But they're quite spread as well. They haven't gone for just, you know, that one specific area. So I'll be interested to see how they play this one out. Obviously, Ents get whatever they want. They were there pretty much at the very offset. Omikun going towards Stalber Hillside. Bystanders still just looting away. Same with the Sauna Boys. This is going to be quite a, I feel like a contrasting game. We're going to have two potential looks. The team's going to be kind of, you know, shuffling and, you know, rubbing shoulders just to get that big compound at the start. You know, maybe the little, you know, maybe not known Leanville. That area just doesn't really work. But that little compound that's further down that has all the cars in front of it, that little, you know, building is always quite a nice pick. Where the pink ponies are, where Omikun are, you can see the benefit to one over the other. And then we're going to have the late teams who are going to have to play very much for those hard shifts and hope for the best, because it could be quite tricky otherwise. So, as said, for me, curious to see who gets the kind of pick of the litter here. I think the teams have noted what we did at the start is that this circle is going to be very tough, and it's going to be a very small playable area at the very start. So it could be explosive, or we could simply have a lot of teams left towards the very end, because they will shuffle into harder fought positions early, because there is only limited amounts of available area in a likely circle ending.
Everyone will just shuffle in and find their position here. FaZe Clan, fair amount of open ground between them. Currently just residing, or traversing through North Georgia Fault. Right, seeing Gustav hanging back just through West Town, but that could be just to gear up. See Gustav at hospital, so we'd have to assume that it definitely is to gear up at this point in time, just to finish up what they may have missed back on Sosnovka. We do have to be aware that in the distance there could be a fight kicking off between the Sauna Boys and the Bystanders. The Bystanders are just hitting the bridge now.
Нагадую, йде послідній на сьогодні гра, четверта. А потім в загальному побачимо результати за третій день.
And he has paid for it. Not quite with his life, but certainly with his car. That is
Чути мене добре? Нічого не тормозив? Все супер?
Panic stations, and now that allows Mert to maybe even get behind him. Don't you do the same. Don't you do the same. Sikora's just gone down, which assumes to me that maybe bystanders have shot him Like, why else would you
Yeah,
go
'cause he's
down
still
at this
moving
stage unless you
around.
don't have...
Що він тут робив?
Yeah, unless he doesn't have
на
meds
пляжі.
whatsoever. It's one or the other.
He
He
was
has no
barely in
meds
the
and he's just...
circle.
So we'd have to assume that Sonobot... Excuse me. Yeah, bystanders have shot him.
Yeah. That feels like
Оба,
that's the
напарник
more
приїхав,
correct
забрав свого
assumption to
коріша.
be made because of the positioning. The circle had only just come through, so he must have been taken quite low by the bystanders as a parting gift, as they've made it across the bridge already. Navi's heading across the bridge by Georgia Pole. Recovery mission successful for Omakan. They get their buddy back with them. Be
О,
like, hey, don't
чуваки
do that again.
їдуть.
And red line, would you? You would. Okay, Nailup's pulled into this, and Code Marco's just been killed. Alright, we've got some weird fights coming in. Lovely shots as well from Paige there. Finding Ivers. As Q
Одного
gonna confirm
піджарили.
what started. And Redline, this is an interesting pull-up. This could be
Зараз
shared, but
гранатка
doesn't
прилетить.
look like Omakan want to be sharing at all.
Боу.
Oh, that nade.
Ще
Good
одна.
damage.
If that goes
Second to
inside as well,
follow.
Page, run.
Блін, чувак лежав і гранатка його майже не
Kind of two
зачепила.
options, I suppose, off the back of this one that Redline have.
Коктейльчик.
Or had at least. Now they have to... Don't shoot your teammate in the back. That's just silly. They could have gone to the plateau. It's just above them. You can see on the roadside in the distance, it does kind of feature there. And they could have took the vehicles in and maybe just bear down upon these teams as they do come out eventually once the circle moves away from... If it moves away from them, of course. It could go to Severny for all we've known. We've seen endings there numerous times. Oh my
What?
lord. That is...
What?
No land at all. What in God's name is that circle?
Batulin's Galaxy Brain just... He knew it was coming. He's like, right, I'm going to play the edge of the next circle. What? Okay, let's look at all the teams who are moving right now. FaZe, TSM, WS, Na'Vi, Liquid, Tornado Energy, Shift W. That's without going into the likes of Bystanders and the Sauna Boys. This is horrible. This is a straight 50-50. And the land is obviously the 50. It's not nice. This is going to be the mass migration. Everyone trying to move around towards the hillside. It can house a lot of teams. This comes down to, have you done your homework? How well do you know this area? For the likes of Ents, this is rolling it back a couple of years. They should be in prime position to do well here. This should feel like home to them. But whether or not they get there, yet to be seen. DA getting a good bit of fire towards them. Got to be careful now. Worse for wear. Smash next to receive a bit of damage. Are now smoking, but still going to find his way forward. Looking ahead, Omakan probably quite happy they're in a good spot. They still are. They hold the coastline. Up on towards the hill, Tornado Energy. Shift W can just swing in. They have no problems now. If they go just up the hill a little bit,
І
take their
зразу на
time,
горку
hell,
їдуть.
Stalber could be theirs.
Shift W,
Ну,
Stalber could be a
Гадзику
point of
тяжко
entry.
буде виїхати.
At least to be able to swing off the back of it, defend it, and make sure no one else comes up this way, because it's a very clear transition point. Example on point. First bullet lands into Ira and they turn him face. Vard has opted to get out the vehicles and maybe tackle this one head on, especially if he can bait Example into fighting him up close and personal. With health down, Vard up with a nade. He does have support from
Granatка,
Ira. The
granatка.
Mosin's out. But can it find its target? That's the question. The nuclear warhead lands. Vard on point, bang on. Example dead to rights. Nothing he can do about this one, but they still have death from above, and it's something they very much have to be aware of. They're not out of the woods just yet. Taking one is a piece of the puzzle, but the rest of them could be out for revenge. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing in the distance, Lauren, Shift W. They're edging closer to this. They want to get involved in the action. This could spell disaster for TSM. 249 comes round the corner.
Він собі з
Yes,
пуліка
may
стріляє,
have been
нічого йому не
ever so
кидає,
slightly, but
нічого не
certainly up
мішає.
close and
типу.
personal, it's going to be a devastating weapon.
Quizzy continuing to push this though is I'm going to put a question mark by it. I hope he's tradable. I'm assuming that Melman's position is going to keep them safe. But look at Kiliakai. He ain't far. Brexico's seen this. They've seen TSM first. So it looks like TSM is going to be in a bad spot pretty soon. Wedged in between these two. Quizzy's gone and been found. Yeah, untradeable. I didn't like that positioning from Quizzy. Kiliakai can behead Miraku, but now everyone's going to scatter, scurry, run away. Iro, run away! He's sticking around on this. He's 1 HP. This is rough
ТСМ
from
жопа
all
зараз
sides.
буде.
Shift W, though, using that high ground to perfection. Good needs to come through and going to keep everyone at this foot of the hill.
Yeah.
Horrifically humbled. And there goes TSM, 16th
Та
place.
самі перші здохли.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
16.
Certainly, contact point when we're coming up that foothill side. Everyone else will just aim towards it, and when you've got people already above you, you're going to run towards the shots. It's as simple as that. You want to get involved in the action. I can see Pink Pony in the distance, and so does Melman. He's fallen victim to them. They'll be the first one Liquid is just
Tornado Energy
idling
тільки
below them
вдвох
down towards the
лишились.
south. Even Ents. You know what? Stuff it. Even Ents can get involved. Chris has overstayed his welcome, gone a bit too far.
Зараз
Should
їх,
have stayed with the
напевно,
rest of the
доб'ють
team,
до
and by doing
кінця.
so, unfortunately, will fall victim.
Гранатка.
The Finns take an
Bow.
easy frag point. Braxco, nade down, damage done. Maybe they just keep going on this one, but they can't go too far. You can already see the tracer fire coming from the pink ponies. Does have some sort of an angle. Melman once again feels the full force of that. The SKS lets rip and puts him back on his ass. How many more do we have that need to come into this one? Okay, DA is slowly but surely working their way up, or down, if you want to say. They've actually been towards the south. They're working closer towards Stauber. Ollie
Коктейльчик.
in. Will it
Ще
disperse
один.
them? Should be in the corner, and it should at least tickle them to put them in a very precarious predicament. They're both on fire, and they're both easy targets. Bye-bye, Tornado Energy.
Tornado Energy теж відкинулись 15.
Okay, Na'Vi's turn. Time to run to where they can. It looks like Orange is going right near the Sauna boys now. Do they commit on this? Orange is in trouble. He might have to. I don't think he's got much more to run with. Tab on the other side. Misa could have done with some of these shots. Let's see if the Finns can withstand again. Na'Vi, the first to fall, will be Orange. And now more pile in, though. You can see Etiquette. Everyone can see everyone here. The kill feed is going to be absolutely grotesque. But Tab has found Misa. Let's stick on board with this fight because Nuki's coming in as well. It looks like Na'Vi, or at least the Tab, has claimed this area. But look how vulnerable he is. Even with that touch of cover that he now has, it's so minuscule.
A lot for the Shack at this point. A stage in the game when there's so many teams alive, there's nothing else really you can do. I'm watching WS on a map as well. I'm seeing FaZe Clan have all turned their arrows and they're just facing that one. WS may be forced to actually run the gauntlet.
They're in the classic
The
ditch.
beachhead. Yep. But they're held back. There's nothing really they can do.
Наві
If they
лишився
take the
тільки один
coast, they have to
чувачок.
go against Omakun, and that compound they have gives them so much leverage.
Ще в W
If you go
троє.
further afield, you then got Batulins on his own. It's weird, but you know, whatever works at this point. Bolt actions may come into effect. You can get one knock onto FaZe Clan. Maybe you
Team
push that as a
Liquid
team and
четверо.
find a
FaZe
kink in
Clan
the armor and make
четверо.
it work. ETG rocking a hard place. Navi behind you. Big Pwn is in front. That's the Northern Lights just behind, looking into that, and
Maxi.
there is the shot. All right, Maxi.
They've got to push it. They've
We've-
got to push this. I'd
Yep.
love to go on board with WS right now because if you've got the opportunity, you've got to push it. You get that knock, you press up. You can't let them keep that cover. They get the heal in, you're done for. So for now, it looks like Gustav will be back on his feet. 3,
Oh.
2, 1. He
There
should
it
be back
is.
up. There it is. Here's off string though. Straight away heading in. Fuzzface has the cross, but Wanderer's nade's done well towards Gustav. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but we know that 80 was low. Kemba's position is good and the nade's even better. This is good from WS. They saw the weakness and they're going to press that issue. Now the problem is, yes, you still have the one and only Ivan against you. This guy is an animal of all kinds, but he's surrounded on all fronts. There's not much more to be done here for him. I feel if he gets a good nade, maybe that could help. A quick kill would be perfect. There's the first, the nade gets the second. This is Uber at his finest, but
FaZe
there's
Clan
so
теж
many
зараз
eyes pouring
відкинулись.
towards him. There's nothing more to be done. 14
FaZe Clan
for
того
FaZe.
разу,
So
блін,
let's look
вообще
at who's in prime
слабесенькі
position here, Rich,
чувачки,
because that
блін.
circle has just adjusted.
Тобто кожного разу
It
відкидаються
has,
при
and it's
самому
only on the pink
початку.
corners. Their position been pretty damn good thus far. ETG are at the door and they've been knocking there for some time. Who's cycling the grenades, and with so much blood on the opposing side and so much damage done, he knows there's a few bodies that could be cleared up here for some easy frags. Northern Lights, the rest of them. Perfectix is actually rotating ever so slightly. They do need to do this eventually because it becomes much more difficult. If they go down towards the south, they are going to get sandwiched between all the teams that are already prime center. The Sauna Boys and Team Liquid playing border control. It'll be extremely difficult. That's backed up by Mexi and Jeems taking a deeper
Щось
angle.
Батулін вообще
elevated
сам
line of
десь там
sight. Win streak is finished
гуляє
off finally.
собі.
Funnily enough, FaZe actually pick up a few kills while doing so, so the bleedouts are there for them. Managed to get the tags and the knocks, the points will be there, and they need as many as they can. I mean, hell, coming into this 13th
Зона
position
вже
and
йде.
going down outside the top 10 again, this is just
Yikes.
all forms of bad in the camp of FaZe at the
Nookie.
moment.
Poor old Nookie just got absolutely blasted by a Scar. Not something I've said in a while, but, you know, we like a throwback. Not sure what Liquid can really do with this, as they're quite far back towards the, you know, further end of the circle. You've got the likes of Clib now moving up with Mexi, Jeems and Ibby kind of holding the extremities, and they're quite safe here. Now, if Northern Lights do go on a southern swing, that's where problems could occur, but we're not sure where Northern Lights want to go yet. Sitting in first place, I'm amazed they've been able to do so well, considering the Patulins wasn't with them,
О,
and now he's dead.
Батуліна
Now
відхерачили.
he's dead.
Що він
As
там
you know, they
один
didn't have their
лазив?
IGL with them, which does actually pose a bigger problem. But I'll keep my eye on Clib for now, as Mexi did just get knocked. It looks like so
Гранатка.
we're gonna see a little bit of trouble here.
Велика,
Clib, oh
точно,
my god, that nade
ё-моё.
almost fell in his pocket. Bloody hell! Northern Lights, right? This is where they want to go. Do they pull up? Should be. This is a good place to pull up too. Tab is alone here. Now, yes, they're being watched, but they can find a touch of cover. Tab's gonna keep his head down in the bunker. All these nades, they're just pinging off the back of the wall. This is dangerous times.
Because they've got people above them. Like, they can't tuck themselves in too deep, because if you do, you're just going to expose yourself. If it's not from the player in the trenches, it's the one on the hillside. Who does have an AWM, so if you can make that bad boy sing, you're going to be laughing and maybe just relieve a little bit of pressure, but you do need to tackle the problem head on, which is the tab. T-Bone and Spyro fall simultaneously. Different teams, different
так
fights.
знають,
and it
куди
shows
гранатки
exactly what's
кидати,
going
блін.
across this map with Omicron unfortunately getting pincer between two different rosters. They have to tackle ends first. It's not going too well. Tixu responds. Vascu does fall. And again, from red line, behind, they've waited them out. Omicron went first, then Redline just says, you know what, we've been waiting here for so long, we'll come in and we'll clean this one up. This should lead us essentially
20
into a
команд
fight
лишилось.
up against Redline and ends.
Potentially, I'm looking at Tab. There is a chance he can 1v3 this. If they stay stuck in that corner,
Та
he
бойня,
can actually
все
pull
на
it off.
купу,
Redline
блін.
are moving in. Now pick whichever fight you prefer. Tab's nade didn't work out, and now he's getting nades back at him. He's left the, you know, the foot off the pedal for a little too long, and he can't quite keep them now cornered down. Molly comes in. Tab looks like he might be done for pretty soon. But over in the other camp, the red line fight towards
Navi
ends has
здох.
gone quite well for Marv to begin with at the very least.
11.
And now Tixu going to deal with Nate.
Піджарили
Diggory
його
on the low
капітально.
ground, catches down QBE, but it's Marv on the trade. Still so much more work ahead of them though. Tixu making this hard work, difficult work. The smoke's creating almost a new bit of terrain here, a new bit of a layout. But the problem is that Marv is mopping up his teammates, and what can he do about it?
Position's noted at least, they'll just hold it for now. Hard peek it. Hope for the best if Marv comes this way. Should be getting a first full, unless Marv's just kind of waiting out and going for the res. QB's in a resable position, which is good, and they can try and even this number up. All Tixu's friends down and dead, he doesn't have to focus on that, doesn't have to worry about that. He catches them while they're on the resuscitation, which he does! And
Добив
strikes
ще
with
Тіму до
perfection.
кінця.
Tixu keeps the dream alive for Ends, and more importantly, keeps the much-needed frags.
Лишається 10 команд.
Spyro.
Okay.
Still chilling on the
Position
hillside, but the rest of his
movement.
teammates just on the opposing with... I don't know if you noticed as well, with Northern Lights earlier on, they took the vehicle before they actually rotated. They went to pick up the crate first, hence this is the reason that we're all geared up at this. But did Hugh just see him, or was he hitting the deck because he was low?
I don't know. I'm not sure which way that went down. Now, Jeems has got the higher angle now on the Sauna Boys. It looks like Liquid did rotate around. You saw earlier Clib trying to use the low ground to get close, and he might try it again. But Jeems' position should pay off pretty well. Nuki's going to be hard to clear out this corner unless they get nades in and everything else. But honestly, at this
не
point for Liquid,
рухається, щоб
you might
піти
need to worry about the
допомогти.
bystanders. They still have the high ground on them. So keep in mind, this is from kind of east to west, high ground to low ground, and then the plateau where the pink ponies currently reside. So you're going to have a couple of weird fights, a couple of, you know, awkward scenarios, and this is lovely from Perfectix. That's what you want to be seeing. Northern Lights now pushing that lead a little bit higher here. DA staying quiet till endgame, it looks like.
Time to get loud and proud.
Spyro, bloody hell.
Well, you got 3 on here. I was hoping he was going to knock that one because they can actually focus on the 2 that are wrapping down low on him. That's something he definitely needs to be aware of. With Lou in the backup, that at least covers that, and with the blue there, they will at least fail on the scenario and the situation for now. Noki's still going strong onto Lou. That removes the level 3 and the big green machine from play. I think Ponies have been here for quite some time. Remember, they got in early. They've been shooting into various different teams. The question is there going to be enough ground to cover from here? The only problem that they will have if either of these fights actually end, they'll be held dead to rights basically until it all kind of comes to a head. And Team Liquid will wrap on this one. They'll hear this shot and understand what's going on.
Nice shots.
Is ridiculous.
Whoa.
He's having a big game right now. I don't know if that's going to be able to continue much further because Pink Pony's position now with that circle in combination is very tricky. They can follow the ridgeline around, but it opens up to Nuki and Jeems. So there is no easy option. But now we got to look towards Shift W and DA. They have to move here. This is far more interesting. Ents shouldn't get a fight until they get right up towards the pink ponies. They find Page and that's it. I want to look at DA's positioning in comparison to Shift W, as they're going to be in quite an interesting fight. Now, I'm not sure if bystanders have vision on it or how this goes down, but Tixu does need to run in. He can try and get close and be almost undiscovered. This would be the Northern Lights running that ridge line, but he's got to be careful to not expose themselves towards Nookie or Jeems.
Jeems actually just taking damage from it, so he's tickling in from the side. So he can't really go too far. With Club on the back, eventually will be able to show his face, but you can see what the idea is just keep yellowing Trick, so he doesn't loop back round behind them all. Tixu also has some kind of an eye into this one with him laying down. That could be a 1-2 and a thank you if it lands in the head. He's hit one. Presence will now be noted. If he falls onto yellow. A lot of scouts coming into play, Lauren. You've mentioned it. Maybe they know something we don't at the moment. The 5.56.
I'm interested.
I think it's a big, robust comeback after the old barrel meta, but we'll soon see. 4 times with the barrel in the hands of Spyro. I'm not a big fan of the 4 times up close and personal, but you know what? These players make that gun sing. Kill Your Kite finds all of DA lining up. 1, 2. Can you find the second? You absolutely can. Metrelius down low, but now you have to pick up the points. If he gets this third and final one, I will be
Каліка
mindful.
навалив там. Від
Oh,
зони
we just
ног
waited
несе,
too
блін.
long.
Oh, that really sucks. Okay, Metrelius, you've got the entirety of Shift W coming your way. Not bad on the first. Tries to reset on the spray. Gonna try and cast Zoka his life. Oh, this is looking whiffy. It's looking a bit throwy, Rich. Oh, Zoka's feeling weird about it. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Awkward times. You can see the frustration on Metrelius' face. You can see it all over the place. They are not happy with how that went down, and I don't blame them. Shift W died for that. But bear in mind, DA got, I think, 1 point.
Зокер
this
так
entire
нічого
game.
грає,
Not
ну.
exactly a huge performance from kills from them. This could have been a bigger statement, potentially. As Northern Lights still alive, they can do far greater damage and maybe push that lead further.
Tixu still holding to be a nuisance. Liquid gatekeeping bystanders. Don't want them to come much further than this. I think just sounds like a beast every single time it goes. But off 1 clip in the leg should do it. Mexi finds the weakened player and York goes down. Instant confirmation off the back of that. Beam it, wrapping low. Or at least attempting to get a different angle, different avenue of approach if you can. Maybe even get in front of Team Liquid, but they don't want to do that. They'll try and cut that off and stop them having any advancement into the circle. Clib just hits the world. Beamy gets his face demolished. Now it comes down to Flamey as the last bystander standing.
Oh, this is getting tough. What, 5 teams is it now? And the Pink Ponies have actually survived this, which is quite impressive. Now, whether or not they can leave. Let's see who can do the damage. We do have Northern Lights still here. Liquid just got destroyed on the other side. Excuse me. Destroyed bystanders. So that nade finding perfect placement. Let's look at how many are left here. So Team Liquid actually still have quite a few standing. Jeems is isolated, though. Don't forget that. He's a little out on his own, and it's for a good reason. The south side is being controlled by him. He still knows Nookie is in this goddamn building. He can't get him out. The blue will force Nookie to leave soon. This is why the nade is being ticked now. There goes the nade. Would love that to go through if it could. Ooh, Nookie. This boy is spicy today, but Spyro just found aim. So this is the Pink Ponies trying to leave this compound, and we've seen this being a problem. But Perfectix has gone down. Spyro's still alive, but doesn't stand. He's prone. Vest broken, helmet broken, nothing left to fight with. Pink Ponies make it out. Now we're down to just... Is it just 2? It is. And as the Pink Ponies have made their position perfectly noted, aim... Dashbury would like a revive, but I think that blue's going to catch him first. I don't know if this is the best of ideas here. No, it's not. It's a fumble. They could have maybe tried to change that, maybe go into a better position earlier, as Liquid now control the circle, Rich. They control 50% of this, and it's not even looking difficult for them right now. Mex is going to get the first port of contact. There's the first tag from it, but there's a player closer by. Goya has been undiscovered so far. He could potentially find Mexi, and if he does, it's game on.
The second Liquid ended with bystanders that have started bolting it across the map to get into a better position to receive this fight. Goya does answer back, though. That's good. That's the start of building back something that could be almost seen impossible. But if you stay your ground, people will come behind. They will take full advantage of this. Clib is just ripping them a new one at this point. Goya has to sit down and hold to see if he somehow does. but all of a sudden the
Team
response is
Liquid
there.
взяли
9 kills
перше
come out
місце
from
в
Team
четвертій
Liquid,
грі.
and that is how you round
Pink
out the day. A
Пані
19-point
друге.
game. Team Liquid today have been looking absolutely dominant, and I've got to say it, like, every single time we hop on board with Clip, if he's not downing someone, he's constantly shooting everything. That man is just
Там
a
просто
magnet. If he smells action,
чувак
if he's any
під
kind of
ніком кліп
semblance of it,
затащив.
they just magnetize straight to it. They get stuck in. They want to make sure they get these frags, but more importantly, the amount of ground that Team Liquid has time and time again is just phenomenal.
Remember, I'm glad that Clib is once again proving time and time again how good he is. People questioned the pickup. K-Mind was a fan favorite. People loved that player, but he is proving the difference that he can bring to this lineup. That firepower, as you said, whether it be just getting the kills or constant pressure,
Це
he's
вже йду.
always very
Вже
relevant.
кінець.
But the scoreboard, I think, somewhat will keep as it stands. Northern Lights should stay in the first place. I think DA were unable to make much of that game, and the highlights of their reactions very much noted frustration. But that's enough from us. Let's head back to the boys to break it down and wrap this one all up.
Біноклі вивалює свої і все.
That's right, Team Liquid getting themselves yet another victory here on Erangel. They were able to pinch one when it came to our second day in our first weekend, and now getting themselves
Закінчився
In general,
четвертий
it's been a very consistent day here for Team
матч
Liquid.
на
They've had a
сьогодні.
second, they've had a fourth,
Четверта
and now a
ігра.
third place here for us, to get
І на
things
тому
rolling.
закінчився
So
і
the champions are
третій ігровий день.
And what I like seeing Liquid, what they're doing is they changed up their playstyle. They're not gonna just
Зараз
dive
ми
for
побачимо
middle, for the center anymore. Right now they're playing a little bit more inferior
таблицю.
places, but it works out for them because they can keep everyone alive and they can go towards the later stages and try to farm the kills. And that's what you saw in this game as well. Coming into Circle 7, I think they had 1 kill, but then they started fragging out, and I mean they ended up with a win and 9 kills, and that's what we want to see. You want to see them keeping everyone alive. As we talked about earlier, baby steps, take one step at a time, make sure that you get one thing right, and then you work on the next thing. And that's what they're doing right now. It's great to see they're coming back to their former shape.
Yeah, it's not been the biggest fragging day for a Liquid. 4 kills, 5 kills. Best of luck. Not happy here with how things have played out for Navi in that last game. But, these kinds of wins, Martin, in terms of having 3 days left over for Team Liquid, they're still putting themselves in a position where they can easily challenge for the championship.
Yeah, that's what you want to do. Like, you want to be within pouncing distance of the top 3, top 4, or the top 2 if you're in Liquid's case here, and be able to be within that one. And I feel like they're playing very well. Like,
Тут, напевно, мотоцикл.
because they're putting themselves in situations where they're.
Я так зрозумів, що тут питається якийсь транспортів ПУБГ. Швидший. Я думаю, що мотоцикл. Зараз подивимося, що напишуть в чаті. Пишуть дачі. Мото.
That's how they say it. But I mean, Clib has just been an absolute fantastic.
Buster,
Roster. We've talked about it many times when it comes to.
Ну, в чаті, напевно, намахують, бо пишуть.
You can even see not only in those long range shots for us, but even
Дачі.
these up close and personal fights going down here. He was instrumental in taking down Pink Pony.
Well, you see here, for example, the 2 knocks he got there, it's impact knocks, impact kills, and that's what you want to see. Those are worth so much more than just being able to frag out. But
Ніхто не
in this
хоче
case,
толком
he's
написати,
able to frag
що.
out on top of that as well. So, I mean, it's a perfect addition to add to Team Liquid.
Що?
Because with that,
Та
they
я
can
прочитаю
basically just
по-англійськи, що
dominate if they
прочитаю.
want to. Once they start figuring things out, start over, it's just going to be a unstoppable force coming in here.
You can understand the frustration that we
Да,
saw
хто пише мото.
when his teamer went out early in this game, and even in the last couple of games
Ну,
for
то мотоцикл,
Navi,
я
it's
думаю.
been a 10th place.
Оба,
So
та.
it's not been the best of days, but I'm sure that they will be able to bounce back through all of that. Team Liquid with 19 points up towards the top. Ents with another nice double-digit performance is going to start sitting them nicely in the middle pack here.
Мото.
And Pink Pony.
Якісь
putting in
дауни
work here,
пишуть
Martin,
дачі, а
over towards
спеціально,
the end
щоб
of that game.
запороти.
Yeah, and that's it's super nice for them, to be honest. They had somewhat of a rough day. They got 10 of their 14 points today here in the last game. They only had 3 kills and 1 kill, 3 kills on Mirrorman, 1 kill in the previous game. So very nice for them to step up and kind of push themselves away from the bottom.
Tixu and Diggity getting 5 apiece here for Ents, and that's where a lot of their points came from in this game in particular. So they effectively, in terms of, you know, decent amounts of points, start the day, end the day how they started it. With Kiliakai, Klib, Defectix also showing on up here. And James towards the end in terms of the damage done. But one thing that I do want to kind of take away from what we've seen here today, Froz, is the fact that, once again, Northern Lights, 11 out of the 12 games that we've seen them so far in this final has been nothing short of a top 6. And then 8 out of those 12 games has been nothing short of a top 4. They are looking extremely consistent here so far throughout the final.
And it comes down to them being able to find these kind of edges where there's
Давайте,
less
показуйте вже
people and they can
таблицю,
play from
вже
that.
пора
And that's how they like
закінчувати.
to play it. Look in the last game here, for example, how they were kind of playing on the center to the west side, but then you had Balin on the east side, and it was what, until circle 4, Balin didn't even try to get back to the team because he knew that there was no chance for him to get back to them. But they're able to keep everyone alive, keep on playing their game, and just keep on fragging out. And that's how they do it. They get to the late stage, and that's where they start farming up all those kills.
All right, well, we have our interview ready, and we don't often get a chance to talk to Sauna Boys, but here we have Sakura. Sakura, how are you doing, friend?
Hey guys, how you doing? I'm doing good.
Yeah, not too bad here either. So you guys in the past couple of games have had a great earning of points here for today. Talk to me about, were there any changes from last weekend coming into this weekend? Because today's been really good.
Well, yeah, since we did kind of bad the first week, we really tried to focus on this week's scrims and the games we played, and also in our analysis of the game, and obviously it worked out for us this week. So yeah, changed our play game.
Perfect. I mean, yeah, it's gone well. Martin, you have a question?
Yeah, I want to ask, is there anything specific you can like share here? What challenges did you feel that you guys had? Like because it's a pretty insane step up. You had 21 points last week, and now you have 40 or 47 in just this day. So you're looking on the rise here.
Yeah, well, since we have the hot drop in Gatka, it really messes up with our rotations and stuff. But we gotta take it because we're never gonna give up Gatka. And this week
Базарить, в
we
общем,
didn't
що
have to
вони
go
там
there,
щось в
so I think
Гатці
that helped us a little bit, I guess. And also, first week we were
тусувалися.
kind of scared to take
Такі
some
штуки.
fights and stuff. But this week we just said like, hey, we played against these guys forever, so let's just go and kick their asses.
That's great information.
Nice.
Дуже
So
цікава
looking at
інформація,
it, in
Базарить.
the second Miramar game today, you guys got to the late game, but then you couldn't get the win there. You got yourself a third place. The game after on Erangel, you guys got the win. But from my perspective, in the Miramar game, you kind of misplayed it a little bit, but on the Erangel
Чувак вдома навішав 10 мишок, блін, на стіні. 3 пари наушників. Нахера йому той свій бред.
Yeah, well, in Miramar game, we definitely had a misplay in the end, and that's what it is. Sometimes it happens, but since we had that misplay, I think it helped us in the next game to win the game, actually, and not make the mistake. Even though I kind of almost threw the game in the last game too, but luckily my teammates were there to help me.
Nice.
Що ви там смієтеся, йопта?
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Sakura. Any final shouts before we let you go?
No, I just want to say thanks for everybody who's cheering for us, and I've seen a lot of Sauna Boys hype recently, and I hope you guys keep it up.
All right. Thank you very much, friend, and good luck tomorrow in your games.
Good luck, mate.
Thank you.
Thank you, well played, man.
Awesome. What a great interview. Thank you very much, Sakura, for joining us here. And thank you to Sauna Boys in general for putting up a really good showing today from the points that they were able to accrue. We can check in with the overall standings now and see what's happened so far today, because Northern Lights is once again continuing to set themselves apart. We've already talked about the consistency in placements that they have had here so far. DA 1 point away from getting themselves into that 100-point mark, but Team Liquid has put in work today, Martin, and is now catching up with their Miramar drop buddies.
They are catching up very nicely. It's getting extremely close here. It's actually gonna be super interesting here going into tomorrow. And also our top is separating them further.
Ось ми бачимо таблицю, хто яке місце зайняв.
Amount of points that they had last week, but they need to step up their game going into tomorrow. They had 12 points so far today. That is not enough if you want to stay into the top 3 here.
Російська команда перше місце, якийсь там Digital друге, Team Liquid третє, Tornado Energy четверте, Chieftec п'яте, TSM шосте, Наві сьоме, Sauna Boys восьме.
How good Sauna Boys and Northern Lights have played it today, but Northern Lights, they've been consistent throughout every day so far. 47 points in day 1, 40 points day 2, 47 day 3 here. They're just keep on going, they're getting more and more points for every day. So
12,
what's
Face
gonna
Clan
happen tomorrow if they got
13,
47 points today?
ну і там далі.
Yeah, what is gonna happen? We shall find out tomorrow. And ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much does it here for our day 1 of this weekend. I suppose it's day 3 technically of the grand finals. But a huge thank you to everybody tuning in around the world. Thank you very much to Avenger and Frost for joining me here at the desk.
Так що він всім подякував за сьогоднішній перегляд, за сьогоднішню гру, коментування. В общем, на тому на сьогодні кінець. А завтра в 20:00 по Києву, не знаю по інших країнах, як там, відбудеться ще 4 ігри. Буде грати Європа, так що не пропустіть. Заходьте завтра. Все, на тому ми закінчуємо трансляцію. Кому сподобалось, ставте лайки, підписуйтесь на канал на Ютубі. Хто дивиться на Твічі, фоловтесь. Мені буде дуже приємно. Все, до зустрічі, до завтра.